Alright guys, so James Gunn had an interview with new rock stars and some other people who I don't know. And he said some interesting things, so let's talk about it.
And then there are aspects of Darkseid as in Thanos are obviously very similar. They look very similar. And because of that, I think that, to give you probably more than an answer than you expected, I don't, using Darkseid as the big bad right now is not necessarily the thing because for a lot of reasons, because Zach did it so cool in his way. Because Thanos and Marvel.
So there we have James Gunn confirming that Darkseid will not be the big bad of the DCU, at least, in the first phase that they're setting up here. And I actually really like this idea because, look, I don't know anything about the comics. Maybe Darkseid potentially would be a unique or a different take on that type of character than Thanos did with the MCU, but at the end of the day, the character looks like what he looks like, and to the majority of the general movie-going audience, they would probably just be like, oh, DC is just doing their own version of Thanos. They would do that sound effect. And so yeah, I totally understand this and respect this, and I like it. I also like that James Gunn is just very, honestly being like, he's bringing up Marvel being like, yeah, they did it. But even more than that, he's bringing up the fact that Zack Snyder did it, kind of. He tried to do it. He didn't really end up doing it. But I like that he even throws some respect over to Zack Snyder being like, yeah, he did it in a cool way. It's debatable if we really saw what he was going to do with it, but but we did see him in that portal in the Snyder cut, right? He was like in a portal or something, so we saw him. But yeah, he also talks about something that I criticized him for because of the Peacemaker finale. He talked about how he was teasing a big cameo, and then he tried to sort of defend it by saying that Lex Luthor was the big cameo. Let me just play the clip for you.
We hang on everything you say and parse it out, so we can you can't say anything without us
believe
going,
me.
well, Batman 2 takes place in the DCU, guys.
I saw my conversation in the car in Mexico at 8 a.m. that everyone made such a big deal about that I didn't even see till after this. I was asking people, 2 days before the episode came out, I saw a bunch of people saying, what's the big cameo going to be? And I was like, what do you mean the big
Sorry, Eric.
The cameo is Lex. It's the biggest actor we have in the DC.
So yeah, that, in my opinion, that's just a massive misstep and oversight on behalf of James Gunn and whatever his gaggle of goons that he's got working with him in DC Studios. This is just something that Hollywood needs to learn. I feel like they should know by now, but the movie star doesn't exist anymore. We just saw The Rock flop and burn with the crashing machine. The Rock is not a movie star that was able to sell more than $12 million worth of tickets for that movie. I'm sorry, but it might be technically true that Nicholas Hoult is the biggest movie star in the DCU, but audiences don't really care that much about actors anymore. It just is what it is, right? Now, they care about IP. Are there going to be certain actors that are attached to certain IP that are going to be a really big deal? Of course. Robert Downey Jr. coming back to Marvel, that's a massive deal. If, Christian Bale ever came back as Batman, that would be a massive deal. But, we saw that, what Robert Downey Jr. can do box office-wise when he did that Doolittle movie. He did the movie about a judge or a lawyer or something. I think it was called The Judge, flopped. So the fact that in his mind he's thinking oh, well, Nicholas Hoult is one of our biggest actors, that's a big cameo. It's and don't get me wrong, Lex Luthor is a pretty big cameo, but when you hype things up saying that, oh, we're gonna got some big cameos this season, which is something that he did, he needs to understand that fans' minds are going to go to Superman. Fans' minds are going to go to oh shit, could he introduce the DCU Batman? Right? Like, could we see a Wonder Woman? That's what people are going to think about when they hear big cameos, right? When you introduce the concept of the multiverse in Peacemaker Season 2, fans are going to go to, could we see some DCEU actors show up? Like, Henry Cavill Superman, Ben Affleck Batman, something wacky like that. Lex Luthor in a prison cell. It's like, or not in a prison cell, but on the phone. You know what I mean? That's going to be disappointing for people. And so I do think it's distressing that James Gunn doesn't understand that, because I think that is something that you should understand when you are the co-CEO of DC Studios. But regardless of that, I really do think that James Gunn just needs to stop hyping things up on social media. Or hype things up in the right way, because when you make all these big proclamations like how Peacemaker Season 2 is going to be like a sequel to Superman, and it's actually the prequel to Man of Tomorrow. It's like, it's like, oh, it's going to really set up the future of the DCU. That type of language is going to create expectations. And the reality is that I'm not saying that everybody that disliked Peacemaker Season 2, it was all because there weren't big cameos or anything. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that is an aspect to it. And you can't really blame people for feeling that way when you use that type of language. So, yeah. At the end of the day, I appreciate James Gunn's candor a lot of the time, right? Like when he's just like openly talking about how we don't want to use Darkseid because Marvel already used Thanos, and Zack Snyder already did some stuff with him, so we don't really feel like copying or we don't feel like treading same ground. It's like that type of candor, or that type of openness with the audience, I really like that type of stuff. But you gotta know when to rein it back a bit, right? Like, salvation might be a big deal to you, James Gunn, because it might be a big deal in the comic books. But when people hear that Peacemaker is going to really set up the DCU, and they hear that there's going to be big cameos, they're thinking Superman. They're thinking, oh, this is going to set up like, a known thing, a known commodity. But when it's like Salvation and Checkmate, which are these niche things that really only comic book fans know, I think Checkmate might have been in Smallville, if I remember correctly, most people, it's just going to fall over like a thud. And then, on top of that, when the season finale was just kind of a disappointment in general, that's when you start getting that backlash. Learn how to be more responsible on social media, I guess, is all I'm saying. And that's a lesson that we can all learn. So be responsible, and comment on this video, and like and subscribe. Do all those things. Goodbye.